you learn the trade and commerce relationship India had with Europeans, the arrival of Europeans to India for trade, the Carnatic Wars in the backdrop of European political development, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, and dual government system, the British policy of aggression. Next topic, trade and commerce relationship between India and Europe. There were trade and commerce relationship between India and Europe since ancient times. So look at the map. There was a great demand for Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger, and many other spices in Europe. The trade relationship continued between India and Europe and other Asian countries even during Middle Ages. The Arab merchants carried ancient merchandise into Constantinople of Eastern Roman, that is Byzantium Empire. Italian merchants would buy these goods and then sell in European countries. Like this, Constantinople was the center of international business and considered as the gate of European trade. While Arab merchants had gained monopoly over the trade in Asian countries, Italian traders gained monopoly over trade in Europe. The merchandise from Asia had brought good profit to Italian merchants. The fall of Constantinople. Next topic. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks captured the city of Constantinople. As a result, all the trade routes connecting the city of Constantinople came under the control of the Turks. Look at the map. The Turks started levying too many taxes on the goods passing through these routes. As a result, the merchants felt that the trade was not profitable. Meanwhile, Spain and Portugal were attempting to break the monopoly of Italian trade. They started encouraging courageous sailors to find the sea route to India. Look at the map for Spain and Portugal. Italy is also marked in red. The invention of compass, astrolabes, and gunpowder provided further impetus to this venture. Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese sailor who left Lisbon and reached Capado near Calicut on the east coast of India in 1498. His ship has reached Calicut. Yes. New sea route to India. This route continued to be the route of trade between India and Europe for many years. Like this, the Portuguese were the first to re-establish trade between India and Europe. With success of Portuguese, many Dutch, French, and English arrived to India for trade. This development not only changed the history of India, it also changed the history of European countries. First of all, we shall speak about Portuguese. Portuguese were the first to arrive in India for the trade and were also the last to leave India on the sea. After Vasco da Gama, Francisco de Almeida arrived to India as the Viceroy of Portuguese. He implemented blue water policy in order to establish the supremacy over sea instead of supremacy over lands. Alfonso de Albuquerque, who came after Almeida, is considered as the real founder of Portuguese Empire in India. Alfonso de Albuquerque, he waged a battle against the Sultan of Bijapur in 1510 and won Goa. Goa became the administrative center of Portuguese administration. In India, the Portuguese had absolute monopoly over trade with India for almost a century, and their power declined with the arrival of English and the French in India. Next is about Dutch. Dutch are from Holland or Netherlands. Look at the map. Indian company, Dutch East India Company in 1602 with the aim of doing business with the eastern countries and earned countries like Java, Sumatra, Indonesia and the spice-rich islands of Southeast Asia. They established warehouses in Surat, Broch, Cambe, Cochin, Nagapattinam, Masulipatanam and Chinsur and other places in India. With this, they broke the monopoly of Portuguese in India. Later, unable to face competition from English and French, Dutch limited themselves to spice-rich islands. Next is about English. In 1600, December 31st, Queen Elizabeth I issued a royal charter authorizing East India Company to trade with the eastern countries for 15 years. The company started the business formally in 1613. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir issued a royal permission to the English to establish their first warehouse or factory at Surat. In 1617, Sir Thomas Roe arrived at the court of Jahangir as the royal ambassador from the court of James. He sought permission from Jahangir to establish factories in the places of Mughal Empire. English established factories in Agra, Ahmedabad and Bhuj. In 1639, English took Madras from the king of Chandragiri and established a strong fort named St. George Fort. Later, Charles II, the Prince of England, gave Bombay as an annual rent of £10 a year, established company in 1668. In 1690, the English purchased 3 villages named Thanoti, Kaligata and Govindapura on the banks of Hooghly River and built Fort William. The city of Calcutta grew around this fort. By 17th century, the English had established Bombay, Madras and Calcutta as the center of their presidencies. Look at the map. By the later part of 18th century, the English made Calcutta as their capital city. They implemented their own civil and criminal procedure codes in the areas were under them. French East India Company started a government-owned company in 1664. It started its first factory in Surat in the year 1668. Later, they established the factories in Machilipatnam, Chandranagara, Mahi, Karaikal, Kazim Bazar. In 1674, the French took Valikantapuram from a local Muslim official, developed it as a major trading center. This center is Puducherry or Pondicherry. Dupleix, who arrived to Pondicherry as the Governor General of French, had the high ambition of establishing the French as a major power in South India. The ambition led to the Carnatic Wars with the English. The competition between English and the French. The Portuguese and the Dutch had withdrawn from India, unable to withstand the competition from French and English by 18th century. Finally, French and English resorted to show strength in order to establish their political supremacy over India. Meanwhile, political volatility around the region of Hyderabad and Karnataka, eastern part of Tamil Nadu, and both the English and the French tried to exploit the situation in their favor. This led to the 3 Carnatic Wars. Look at the map for Carnatic region. First Carnatic War 1746 to 48. On the request of Dupleix, La Bonaris, a French military leader from Mauritius, invaded Madras. This forced the helpless British to request the help of Anwaruddin, the Nawab of Carnatic, for support the army. First Carnatic War 1746 to 48. Finally, La Bonaris took money from the English and returned to Madras and went back to Mauritius. This enraged Dupleix and attempted to take Madras but failed in it. Finally, this war ended with the treaty in Europe between France and England called Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. Second Carnatic War 1749 to 1754. In the changed circumstances, French made Syllabus Jung, another son of Asab Shah, as the Nizam of Hyderabad. An officer named Bussy was stationed in Hyderabad for his protection by French. In Carnatic, Chanda Sahib was the Nawab with the help of French. Robert Clive of East India Company attacked Arcot, the capital city of Carnatic, and defeated. Chanda Sahib was imprisoned and later killed in this war. In the place of Chanda Sahib, the English named Muhammad Ali, the son of Anwaruddin, as the Nawab of Karnataka. The Second Carnatic War ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. French recalled Dupleix. This war brought laurels to English while French suffered a political setback. The Third Carnatic War between 1756 to 1764. Comte de Lally, the French attempted besiege on Wandiwash in 1760. In the decisive battle, Sir Eyrecourt of English army defeated the French and imprisoned Bussy. Lally escaped and hid in Pondicherry. Finally, Eyrecourt attacked Pondicherry and Lally had to surrender unconditionally in 1761. The effects of Carnatic War. The French had to lose all their bases in India due to Carnatic Wars. In spite of this, as per the Treaty of Paris in 1763, Pondicherry was returned to the French. With these developments, French lost their importance in India. The effects of Carnatic War. French had, like this, the English, by defeating all their rivals, started consolidating their power over the South India. The British rule in India. After gaining political control over South India, the British tried to gain control over the rich Bengal province in the later part of 18th century. Look at the map. The Bengal province had achieved tremendous growth in the area of agriculture, commerce and industry. The East India Company was making considerable profit from this province. The British rule in India. The Dastakats, a license issued by the Mughal ruler Farooq Siyara, were the main reasons for this. But these Dastakats that were limited to the company transactions were misused by the individual officers of the company too. This resulted in huge loss to the Bengal government. Hence, all Nawabs from Murashid Ali Khan and Ali Wardhi Khan were opposing such misuses. Later, this led to the confrontation between the Nawab and the company. This resulted in two crucial wars which charted a decisive course to Indian history. Plassey and Buxar were those two wars. Battle of Plassey, 1757. Ali Wardhi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, died in 1756. His grandson Siraj-ud-Dawla came to the throne. The Plassey battle took place between the young Nawab Siraj-ud-Dawla and the British in 1757. Causes for the war. First point, misuse of dastakats. The Siraj-ud-Dawla was furious that the dastakats were misused by the officials of the company, incurring losses to the government treasury. Mending of the forts without permission. The British repaired the forts of Calcutta and placed cannons in them. This further enrages Siraj-ud-Dawla and he ordered the removal of cannons from the court. This British refused to do this, angering the Nawab further. Third point, Black Room tragedy. Siraj-ud-Dawla conquered the Fort William easily and imprisoned some of the British who stationed there. He imprisoned 146 Englishmen in a small room in the fort, of which 123 died. This is called the Black Room tragedy. Look at the picture image for this for further information. This enraged Robert Clive and arrived in Bengal with a large army. Robert Clive attracted the locals like Manik Chand, Domik Chand, Jagat Seth and others towards him. He was successful in convincing Mir Jafar, the military head of Siraj-ud-Dawla, to stay neutral in the battle by offering him the post of Nawab of Bengal. Encouraged by all these developments, Robert Clive declared war against Siraj-ud-Dawla. Everything went according to the plan of Clive. Siraj-ud-Dawla, who tried to escape from the battlefield, was captured. This war brought out immorality lack of unity among the Indians, and the greed of Indian businessmen. Outcomes. These are some of the outcomes. Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal. The company gained exclusive rights to do business in Bengal. Mir Jafar had to pay rupee 17 crore and 70 lakh to the relief of Siraj-ud-Dowla's attack on the Fort William. In a nutshell, Mir Jafar became the continuous victim of the company and its employees. Even though the treasury went bankrupt due to this greedy nature, the greediness of the company and its officials were never satisfied. The British projected Mir Jafar as an inefficient Nawab and brought his nephew Mir Qasim as the new Nawab. Next we shall see the Battle of Buxar, which happened in 1764. Mir Qasim was an efficient administrator. In the beginning, he remained loyal to the company. He paid 2 lakh pounds to the company and gave away a few places to them. Shortly, he declared himself as an independent king. After verifying the misuse of dastakats, he declared that the business is duty-free in Bengal. As a result, the Indians competed against the British in all spheres of business. As a result, the British trade suffered considerably. This was enough for the British to oppose the Nawab. They brought Mir Jafar once again and dethroned Mir Qasim. As Mir Qasim knew about the cunningness of the British, he went for an organized war against them. He was supported by the Indian merchants and artisans. Mir Qasim entered into an agreement with the Mughal ruler Shah Alam II and Nawab of Oudh Siraj-ud-Dowla. The combined forces of Mir Qasim faced the British army led by Hector Munro in Buxar in 1764. Mir Qasim got defeated and ran away from the battlefield, and Shah Alam II surrendered. The efforts of the combined forces to stop the British force failed completely. Some of the outcomes: Shah Alam II accorded Diwani rights over the Bengal to the British. Shah Alam II gave away all the rights over Bengal to the British for an annual fee of rupees 26 lakhs. The Nawab of Oudh had to give a fine of rupees 50 lakhs for waging war against the company. With the death of Mir Jafar, the company paid a pension to his son and took over the entire administration of Bengal. So the outcome, the Buxar battle made the British as the real holders of power in Bihar, Odisha province. Even Oudh remained under the control. In 1765, Robert Clive brought an dual government concept. As per this concept, the British had the right to collect land taxes. Whereas the Nawab had power over administrative issues like justice and others. Like this, the British gained political control over India to protect their business.